With deafening roars, Muscles Kim's iron fists shatter the punching bag repeatedly, venting his overflowing power. However, his mother's ghostly silhouette emerges from the darkness, her cold question instantly freezing the heat in the air. The sound of the shower cannot drown out the twist of fate. His parents sit solemnly in the living room, like judges. His father's absurd declaration, "You are 7 years old," hits like a sledgehammer, leaving Muscles Kim hollow-eyed, his soul instantly drained. Resistance is futile as his father roughly forces the humiliating yellow box onto his head. The burly man, now in a toddler's uniform with a tiny backpack, stands at the door, bowing his head in despair before this absurd reality. While his mother feigns concern, the ground begins to tremble violently. A yellow school bus with a creepy smiley face screeches to a halt like a roaring monster, its engine declaring that the nightmare has officially begun. The door opens to reveal a towering, muscular man in sunglasses, radiating overwhelming oppression. Facing this so-called kindergarten, Muscles Kim finally breaks, letting out a gut-wrenching scream of rejection. "Go home, all of you." Meanwhile, in another taxi speeding towards hell, a brainwashing cartoon plays on the TV. The colorful images contrast eerily with the gloomy rain outside, as the passengers' eyes slowly turn glazed in the flickering screen light. Inside the oppressive cabin, the absurd hat rule sparks panic. Questions are met with rough aggression from fellow passengers. The air is thick with paranoia and violence, everyone teetering on the edge of a mental breakdown. As conflict is about to erupt, a man in yellow barks a command, his authority instantly silencing the chaos. The burly men, moments ago ready to fight, slump down in resignation. In this enclosed space, fear is the only common language. The truck loaded with new students plunges into the raging waves, tossing like a fragile leaf in the storm. In the distance, an isolated island with onion dome architecture emerges from the mist, their destination and prison of despair. Facing this unknown peril, even the muscle-bound men break into cold sweats, their minds regressing to toddler-like babble about tweeting birds. The truck ruthlessly drives toward the island, a lawless land beyond civilization. The scene briefly cuts to a warm, sunset-lit mansion where a muscular man chats with a woman drying her hair. This moment of tranquility contrasts sharply with the raging storm outside, like the last piece before the chaos. But reality is brutal. The scene instantly shifts to a suffocating jungle run. Muscles Kim leads the pack, while teammates behind him gasp for breath, forced to sing nursery rhymes, the absurdity dripping along with their sweat. Chatter and mockery in the ranks instantly ignite the instructor's fury. The threat of no snacks, absurdly enough, strikes more fear into these adult men playing toddlers than physical punishment, their wails echoing through the forest. Training escalates as they face a despairingly vertical cliff. The instructor excitedly announces a race, and the students have no choice but to grit their teeth and climb. Suddenly, an accident occurs, someone slips, their scream piercing the tense air. Dallin hits the ground hard. Though trembling with pain, he forces a shout of "I'm fine." His inner monologue, however, is filled with regret, blaming himself for not drinking milk, a childish introspection that is both pathetic and hilarious. Seeing his fallen teammate, the climber above ignites with rage and determination. Roaring for my friends, he unleashes explosive power on the precipice, every muscle tensed in grief and fury as he sprints toward the summit. The competition on the cliff reaches a fever pitch, with some even carrying injured teammates. The sunglass-wearing instructor watches coldly. In this survival game, only those who reach the top earn the right to look down on the rest. The next morning, beneath a smashed basketball hoop, Principal Mr. Don appears with a hypocritical smile. Wearing a crown, he uses the gentlest tone to deliver a terrifying opening, welcoming these big kids to this hellish kindergarten. Class sorting is oppressive, with instructors roaring cute class names like Beasts, Droplets class, Rainbow class. These words sound jarring amidst the bellows of muscular men, while Dallin trembles, awaiting his fate. Dallin tries to pick Muscles Kim as a roommate, but is ruthlessly denied. The instructor points at the muscle monster and deadpans, "She is a girl." The crowd erupts in vicious mockery, the absurd rules once again hitting a new low. Pushing open the door to the rainbow class with trepidation, he is met not by a child, but a towering, pigtail-wearing muscleman. As the giant extends a hand and introduces himself as Rose, the sheer visual shock freezes the newcomer in place, his mind blank. The real Rose warmly welcomes Muscles, assigning a bunk and introducing Carlos, a figure in a bear suit. Despite the cute exterior, Carlos's stern gestures convey a subtle, unsettling warning. Rose proudly demonstrates her healed shoulder, the joints cracking with a sickening crunch. To celebrate this bizarre meeting, they raise their tea glasses, the clinking sound marking the beginning of a strange alliance. Explosions tear through the morning silence. The manic principal, crowned and rocking out, bursts in to announce the day's brutal trial hunt for the legendary cyanic dandelion, where only the winner eats. The corridor echoes with bestial footsteps as students sprint madly for the mission. Suddenly, an instructor wielding a staff roars a thunderous command to freeze, instantly solidifying the chaotic air. As the crowd surges outdoors, a panting Dowan realizes a fatal flaw: no one knows what a cyanic dandelion looks like. Beside him, Shiny sneers, blindly following the stampede. While brute force rages in the playground, Wisdom turns to the library. Fingers fly across book spines until they land on the plant encyclopedia. Flipping the page, his pupils dilate. Found it. Furious drumbeats weave with heavy footsteps into a manic symphony. The principal revels in his performance, using this extreme rhythm to motivate the children into a survivalist race. The frenzied performance cuts short as the principal collapses, clutching his heart. Yet, even amidst the medical crisis, he remains obsessed with this year's monster rookie, recalling the figure who scaled a cliff barehanded. No matter how frantically Dowan scours the grass, the prize remains elusive. Nature's trick lies overhead. The cyanic dandelion doesn't grow in soil, but blooms on high branches, carried there by the blue swallow. While others run around headless, Muscles has already vaulted into the canopy, fingertips grazing the faint blue glow. Rose looks up from below with a knowing smile. A silent understanding passes between the strong. Before the person below can react, the figure in the tree darkens his expression and crushes the flower in his palm. A shockwave erupts, revealing the brutal nature of the competition in an instant. It was a premeditated scheme. Last night's celebration tea was spiked with sedatives. Muscles grits his teeth, eyes gleaming with ruthless determination. The final winner must be me. Just as everyone returns empty-handed, Shiny appears with a wreath on his face, spouting nonsense about the flower being a metaphor. However, in the corner, Dowan adjusts his sunglasses and coldly spits out one word: wrong. Amidst the argument, the wall explodes. Muscles burst through like a god of war, holding high the real, shimmering cyanic dandelion, instantly silencing the room. The flower in Muscles' hand withers to gray the moment the stem is severed. As he stands in shock, Dowan calmly reveals a living specimen planted in a milk carton. Knowledge is the true winning factor here. Despite Dowan's perfect theory, the declared winner is surprisingly Muscles. Amidst cheers and doubts, he accepts the victory with a calm entitlement, leaving the losers gnashing their teeth in the corner. The special soup, reserved only for the victor, exudes a tantalizing aroma, bringing a satisfied smile to Muscles' face. But in the shadows, eyes burn with reluctance, vowing never to lose next time. In the cafeteria, Muscles calmly admits to drinking the mysterious chamomile tea, his expression unbothered. Urged by time, they rush through the hallway to the classroom, where the sunglass-wearing teacher excitedly announces today's lesson self-introductions. The atmosphere ignites. Dowan pushes up his glasses, shouting his love for science, followed by Muscles, who bellows his adoration for pop friends with a fierce face. As applause fills the room, Rose steps up but is suddenly distracted by a blue swallow outside the window. Everyone is captivated by the bird, leaving Muscles seething with rage at being interrupted. Meanwhile, in the office, Strawman nervously answers a call. Back in class, as the greeting lesson is announced, Muscles instantly shoots his hand up, eager to participate. The teacher grabs Rose's head, flashing a dangerous smile. Here, bowing with closed eyes is a death sentence. He coldly instructs her to keep her head up even while bowing. It's not manners, it's survival, leaving a classmate pondering the cruelty of society. The nightmare of Chapter 9 begins. In the fantastical school building, English class turns into a torture session. The teacher demands answers with a menacing look, while terrified children scream the standard response, "I'm fine, thank you," piercing the blue sky. The madness escalates. Students hang upside down, forced to contort their faces into twisted smiles. Then comes math class, where the teacher smashes giant dumbbells together, demonstrating the violent aesthetic of 1+1 with a deafening metallic clang. Rose steps up with confidence, trying to challenge muscles with sheer brute force. She roars as she smashes the two sets of dumbbells together, shouting the answer 5. However, the teacher coldly drops a single word, wrong, ruthlessly dismissing her power. Music class takes place on logs in a raging river. Before the song ends, students fall into the water with terrified screams. Without a moment to breathe, the command to find objects starting with T has them struggling in the water, risking being swallowed by the waves. A wrong answer brings a ruthless blow before the teacher ends the class, hurting everyone to the showers. High-pressure water blasts like a torture device, and a new student shivers under the impact, finally realizing this kindergarten is a world apart from the outside. Under the freezing rain, Muscle stands alone and annoyed until a female voice calls out from behind. Flowerline approaches with a grim expression, and under the oppressive curtain of rain, a secret conversation about survival and alliances is about to begin. In the hallway, Flowerline combs her blonde hair while extending an invitation to the elite group to Muscles. With an inscrutable smile, she casually reveals a cruel fact. Not everyone makes it out of here alive to graduate. Flowerline leaves behind a cryptic hint and struts away. The mood shifts instantly at lunch, the heavy atmosphere dispelled by the scent of strawberry cake. Dowan stares at the glistening dessert, his eyes shining with a manic excitement unlike ever before. One bite of cake sends Dowan to paradise, lost in a blissful fantasy. But when he snaps his eyes open to savor the precious strawberry, the plate is empty. Paradise crumbles instantly, as a ghostly voice asks from behind. "It's shiny!" The bald bully devours the strawberry right in front of him, red juice splattering like blood. Dowan's sanity snaps instantly. Screaming crazy butthole, he lunges at the food thief, plunging the scene into chaos. Rage turns Dowan into a beast. He grips Shiny's collar tight, roaring that it was his strawberry. Just then, a muscular bystander turns the brawl into a math problem. One punch plus another punch, how much pain does that equal? Amidst the chaos, everyone actually starts discussing the arithmetic answer. Just as Dowan and Shiny are forced to apologize, and the tension seems to ease, the teacher acting as mediator lets out a loud burp and the missing strawberry flies right out of his mouth. Chaos erupts as the bald boy shrieks over a missing strawberry, while Dowan, consumed by rage, throttles him to demand it back. The absurdity halts when a burly guard intervenes, freezing the room with a cold order to the timeout room. It is everyone's nightmare, the timeout room. A rusty door with a twisted half-smile reveals the horror inside. They are strapped into chairs, red bands tightening around them, as metal headgear locks into place with a bone-chilling clang, spiking their fear. "Reflect on your mistake," the warden commands coldly. Dowan attempts to scream his innocence, but his rising anger triggers the sensor immediately. The chair roars to life, spinning violently before he can finish his sentence. The nausea breaks Dowan, forcing a desperate apology, but the lesson is just beginning. While peace reigns on the playground outside, a free Dowan remains consumed by obsession, angrily sketching a red heart in his notebook. He simply cannot let it go. Scarcely seated, they trade insults again. Four-eyed pig meets butthole. Instantly, the punishment mechanism activates. A mechanical fist strikes hard, leaving Dowan retching in agony, veins bulging from the sheer pain and regret. That brutal lesson cured Dowan of his strawberry craving forever. Scene shifts. Deep in the corridor, the elite group corners Muscles Kim. The air thickens with tension as they demand, "Have you decided? Join us." Facing the aggressive trio, Muscles Kim contemplates, his gaze hardening into resolve. He turns, delivering a firm refusal. I don't want to join. The words strike like thunder, leaving the elite stunned. Refuse me? You'll regret it. The woman leaves a chilling threat. Just then, piano music drifts through the air as the principal announces a bombshell over the PA. Tomorrow is parents' visiting day, and everyone must be ready. Night falls. Despite warnings to quit, the students clench their fists, swearing never to give up. In the dorms, Rose and her peer exchange goodnights. A quiet calm hangs in the air before the storm, as everyone drifts to sleep with heavy hearts. Meanwhile, in the world outside, parents whisper in bed. The mother is filled with worry, while the father offers casual comfort, completely unaware of the hellish reality their child faces in that kindergarten. A piercing bugle call shatters the morning. Muscles Kim leaps up in excitement. Visiting day is here. But Rose remains buried under her covers, unresponsive. Staring into the mirror, a seed of anxiety sprouts in Kim's chest. Is she still mad at me? Waves crash violently as the massive island looms like a beast. Speedboats carrying parents tear across the water, shouts echoing over the roar of engines. Beneath the spectacle, a mix of tension and anticipation tightens everyone's chest. The hall is packed. On stage, the speaker smiles with a cryptic warning. If they don't want to stay, don't force them. The parents below chant, "We understand." In unison, their cult-like fervor sending chills down the spine. The reception area is orderly yet cruel. Thick glass separates parents from children, limiting their longing to voices on a phone line. A sign reads short and clear, compressing overwhelming love into cold, fleeting electric signals. Some exchange tearful words of love through the glass, while others discuss cold financial transactions. In the corner, a lonely figure hugs a doll in silence, until a heartless time's up severs every fragile connection. Away from the noise, Rose remains alone in the dorm. She turns her back to hide her disappointment when asked. Elsewhere, painful memories of a drunk driving accident flood in. Some waits are destined to be endless, for those people will never arrive. Parents drive away satisfied, praising the perfect school, completely blinded by the facade. Meanwhile, in the shadowed office, a figure in a wheelchair coldly confirms the event's end. The day's warmth was nothing but a carefully woven lie. Inside the heavy atmosphere of the principal's office, despite the sunlight, the mood is suffocating. Responding to the query, the burly assistant delivers a cold reality. 90 enrollments, yet 63 are desperate to leave, a number screaming of broken childhoods. In the auditorium, the crown-wearing teacher beams with a theatrical smile, asking if the children enjoyed Parents' Day. Amidst innocent cheers, he playfully drops a dilemma: good news first, or the bad? His grin hides an unsettling cunning. The bad news is friends have left, but in the teacher's twisted logic, this transforms into a triumph. Vacancies mean private rooms for everyone. The children cheer innocently, oblivious to the grim reality behind this gift. Science class instantly devolves into a wild hunt. At the teacher's command, children charge into the forest like beasts. Moments later, a student triumphantly hoists his prize, a terrified, struggling live rabbit. As the teacher calmly explains rabbit habits, his face suddenly twists in shock. The camera pulls back to reveal another student lifting a massive beast, not a cute pet, but a ferocious wild boar that loves wallowing in mud. Drop it. That's a giant boar's piglet, the teacher warns in a hushed, panicked tone. Before he finishes, heavy breathing emanates from the brush. The enraged mother boar has arrived, bringing nature's vengeful fury. Facing the beast, the teacher smiles not with fear, but with predatory glee. The scene cuts abruptly from the forest's roar to roasted meat on a table as he presents nature's gift, asking the children if they are ready to devour this cruelty. On the playground, two burly men clash violently over a single soccer ball. Observing this primal conflict, the teacher clenches his fist and offers a simple solution: settle it with a proper football match. The rules are brutal but simple. 7 versus 7, violent fouls mean ejection. In the brief huddle, one side boasts chaotic arrogance while the other relies on blind physical confidence. The air is thick with explosive tension. Teams form rapidly. The nerd Dallin is forced into goal, stunned, while the bald Shiny appoints himself striker, laughing with supreme arrogance. Meanwhile, Muscles Kim is sidelined, watching with a hint of longing in his eyes. The whistle blows, and the game explodes. Both sides rush the center like hungry tigers. The sound of bodies clashing fills the air as the bald striker brute forces his way through, treating opponents with utter disdain. Before the keeper can react, a cannonball shot is fired. The ball tears through the air with destructive force, shattering the net. Everyone stands agape as the keeper watches in despair. The first goal is scored in brutal fashion. Halftime arrives, and the glaring 0-3 on the scoreboard declares a crushing defeat. The opponents not only win, but mock relentlessly, leaving the trailing team gasping in humiliation, morale hitting rock bottom. In the dugout, frustration ignites infighting. Teammates scream blame at each other, their rage nearly turning physical until the coach's icy voice cuts through the chaos like a slap. The word lose isn't in my dictionary. Adjusting his shades, the coach crushes the dissent and makes a shocking call, subbing out the starters for the inexperienced Muscles Kim and the mysterious Rose. Play it your own way. At the coach's command, Muscles Kim snaps out of his confusion, his gaze sharpening instantly. He gathers the team, seemingly having found a crazy tactic to turn the game around. The second half begins, and the giant baby substitute stands at center field. As he unleashes a powerful kickoff, his terrifying strength draws a collective gasp, bringing a flicker of cold intensity to the coach's eyes. Facing a fierce interception, he stares coldly and unleashes a physics-defying bicycle kick, leaving the goalkeeper no time to react. Sweat drips from the keeper's face as a sonic boom of a shot tears through the air, shaking the net and shattering his confidence. The scoreboard ticks, 1 goal back. While teammates cheer, the scorer looks drained, clinging to a hope bought with sheer exhaustion. Rose smirks slyly at the praise. Just luck. Turning to the taunting opponent, his gaze hardens. Wait until I score 3 more. Suddenly, Muscle Kim steals the ball and charges, startling the opponents. A creepy smile curls his lips. I'm not fighting alone. A one-on-one chance. Dallin, clueless about soccer, screams internally. Left or right? He shuts his eyes and blasts it, miraculously fooling the keeper. Sweating from his previous mistake, Dallin vows redemption. The whistle blows, and Muscle Kim roars, unleashing the legendary Rainbow Corner Kick. Absurdity unfolds. Muscle Kim lifts Dallin high, using his friend as an aerial platform to smash a header toward the goal. Goal. The keeper drops to his knees in despair, while Team Palangi erupts in celebration the insane tactic actually worked. The adult spectators tear up with excitement, while others stare at Dallin with jealousy, their eyes filled with bitter resentment. Just as momentum builds, the referee blows a piercing whistle, forcing a timeout. The crowd freezes, bewildered by this sudden, arbitrary intervention. The ref spews nonsense with a straight face. Goal disallowed. Being lifted means it wasn't a solo effort. Everyone stares in disbelief at the absurdity. To end the dispute, the ref announces, sudden death, next goal wins. Dallin and the team huddle, eyes burning with determination. The game restarts, and it's a brawl. Slide tackles, collisions, bodies clashing, everyone goes feral for that final goal. The moment arrives. Dallin strikes a heroic pose, screaming internally. Wait, I've never played soccer. His body reacts before his brain can panic. The keeper laughs confidently. I knew it was down the middle. He spreads his arms, but the sheer power of this beginner's luck shot is terrifying. Boom. The net is torn apart. Dallin watches calmly and clenches his fist. Just luck. The whistle blows game over. Post-match lineup. Despite the exhaustion, victory tastes sweet. The tattered soccer ball is handed over as the trophy. Dallin extends a friendly hand, but Shiny rejects it with fury. Under the stern gaze of the adults, the kids force a robotic bow, pure hypocrisy. Watching the brutal brawl, the bald student muses about their pure hearts, completely ignoring the violent kicks and ripping clothes that turn the soccer match into a battlefield. As night falls and the group heads to the showers, a whisper pulls Muscles Kim into the shadows. Inside the dark warehouse, a mysterious box opens, offering a forbidden temptation. It's a contraband vitamin candy. He yields to the temptation, but as the sourness explodes in his mouth, his pupils contract violently, accompanied by his companion's eerie, knowing laugh. A deafening guitar riff shatters the morning silence. The principal storms the stage like a maniacal rock star, his twisted grin heralding the start of a brutal new morning task. The task is revealed: group jump rope with massive, lethal chains. Back in the dorm, a student wakes in a cold sweat, clutching his teddy bear as paralyzing terror takes hold.